Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff, and welcome to the Tropical Garden Guy channel. Today we're here to talk about this tree, my 22-year-old, 16-foot tall Sabara Jaboticaba that I planted from seed, believe it or not, and I waited all these years for it to fruit. And last year, fruit it did. It was loaded. I got tons and tons of fruit off this tree, and it's just so beautiful. This year, it's flowering a little bit early. We had a lot of warm temperatures in the spring, several days in the 80s, and that pushed this thing to just take off with flowers and new growth. I also used a new kind of fertilizer, an Espoma evergreen fertilizer, and look at the blossoms on this guy. It's just amazing to see. For those of you that have never seen a Jaboticaba fruit, and you'll have to take a look at one of my previous videos, but you get the idea here. You see these little flower buds? Well, everywhere where there's a flower bud, there would be clusters of beautiful purple grape looking like fruit, tropical fruit, that has delicious juicy flavor of like a Concord grape. They grow all over the trunks. Now, as you can see, this tree is a V shape. The trunk on the right has a lot more fruit than the trunk on the left, and I'm not sure why. It may be, and my memory's failing sometimes, it may be that this was the original trunk and a new trunk grew off the base of the original trunk, and the left side trunk may be a year or two older than this guy right here. But look at all that, those flower buds. And let's take a look and see if we can see any up in here that there's a couple that are flowering already. But over the next week, these things are just going to be loaded with these flowers. And the smell, there we got one. The smell is just beautiful, very tropical. It doesn't smell, the flowers do not smell like grapes, that's for sure. I'm going to say it smells a little bit fragrant, like the fragrance of like a guava flower, I want to say. I've had some sweet smelling guava flowers. But yeah, this thing is just absolutely loaded with flower buds, and you guys will have to check back in a couple weeks because I'll do a follow-up video on how much of this is going to be fruit. It's just so gorgeous. You just can't believe how beautiful the tree is and how ornamental it is, even without the flowers and the fruit. But it's just exotic with all the grapes growing on them. And there's another flower, and yeah, just look at that. It seems that the deal with Jaboticabas is you have to prune the trunk a little bit to get a little bit more sun down to the trunk, because it seems like they flower more. And maybe the tree knows that in order for the flowers to be most acceptable to bees and whatnot, they have to be on bare or semi-bare trunks. But this guy's gonna be loaded, I can tell you that. I got some questions as to the cold hardiness that these guys have. Now, I can tell you, over the last 22 years, this thing has been hit by frost pretty hard. I think the lowest that it's seen has been, believe it or not, about 21 degrees. Once they get a canopy like this, they can take cold pretty much down to about 25 with zero damage, maybe 26. It might have a little bit of damage on the top, but they have to be full and lush like this in order that to be the case. You really want this guy to have a canopy on it. Otherwise, you might have to protect it if you're in an area that gets, like I say, too much cold. But other than that, they are very easy to take care of. You want to compost, put some compost on as a mulch layer, and lots of bark. I actually even put a little peat moss because they do like an acid soil. And yeah, and keep them well watered. In California, you don't want to let them dry out. They always need to have water on them. They don't like flooding, but they like a constantly moist soil. Look at that. For some reason, I don't know why that branch doesn't have any flower buds on it, but I was going to experiment by girdling the branch, that is, cutting a strip off, and see if that'll get more fruit.
So, once again, if you like growing unusual tropical fruit trees in a marginal climate, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Ignore the dog barking in the background. It's not my dog. You have a wonderful day.